So, how are you, my friend?
I'm extremely well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. You know that this is so, just for context, for anyone that might watch this, about 20 minutes ago, or half an hour ago, we decided that we just jump on this call. And it was after last night seeing your post about a photograph, and we'll talk about it all in a minute. But I saw it and it resonated so deeply. It was resonating with some of the thoughts that I'd been having about this similar topic of how women show up, um, and how women use tactics to or strategies to be taken seriously or to just be acceptable. That I thought that let's just talk about it. No script, just let's just jump on a call. I've been thinking about doing an interview series anyway, called Woman to Woman. And I've been thinking about it for actually years that I've never gotten around to it. So maybe this might be the first episode of Woman to Woman. And
Wow.
the thought behind Woman to Woman is like behind the mask conversations between powerful women. And just talking about this whole power dynamic, about making our difference, about who we are, what we're here to be, what we're here to do, why we're important, that kind of conversation. And I can't think of anyone better to have this conversation with. So, Cecilia, tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. Well, where to start? I'm a lawyer by training. I'm qualified in three jurisdictions. I worked in finance for a very long time, and then it was a long process of working out that that's not what I wanted to do, and so it was a process of working out that working in law, working in finance wasn't really what was going to turn me on.
Yeah.
Um, and so a few years ago, well, a long time ago, I started thinking about what else could I be doing. And, to cut a long story short, I ended up launching my company as a coach for women in 2019. And I've also got a very creative side. So I'm also writing and performing in one-woman shows. And the third one is coming up in December for anyone who's in Paris.
Yeah.
So,
Amazing, amazing. I'm so impressed that you do that as such a big thing. But anyway, because we haven't got much time, let's just dive right in. So here's the thing. I saw a few weeks ago, you asked me and others to think about what they thought about a picture that you were thinking about using for your podcast. And I'd seen that picture before because I was in Paris with you around that time. Um, and you sent me the link to your podcast. And I saw the picture and thought, wow, what an amazing picture. I mean, I really stared at it for some time. I just thought, wow, there's something really powerful about this picture. So when you sent the message out saying, you know, what do you think? I wondered why you were even asking. Like, I thought, like, can't you see how powerful that picture is? But anyway, yesterday I saw that you'd given us an update that there are people who love the picture, like me, but there were people who just thought, no, like you can't use that one. That's not the right picture. So tell us the story from there.
well, yeah. So, I mean, I really like that picture because I think it's really saying, um, don't mess with me.
So
I
describe
mean,
the picture for those who haven't seen it yet.
sure. So it's a black and white picture of it, and it's me. I've got my head, my chin resting on my arms like that,
Yeah,
and I'm just looking straight at the camera, and I don't really have any particular expression on my face.
yeah,
I've taken my glasses. It's like that,
yeah,
just looking. Um, I really like the picture. I think I actually think it's very, very powerful.
so do I.
But a lot of the comments that I got back were things like it doesn't look dynamic, it doesn't look warm. doesn't look friendly, um, all of those things. And so I had very split reactions. Like some people like you really loved it,
Yeah.
and they said it, and some people really hated it.
So the reason why this caught my attention was because I had in the last week, I think I had a feedback session from an analysis that I had done by a wonderful lady called um, Annemiek Muir. She's a non-verbal communication specialist, and she reads faces, basically reads communication through non-verbal cues. And so she and I had a conversation a few weeks ago, and then she analyzed it and she came back to me with what she'd found. And it was great. I had so many really surprising, revealing things that were coming out through my communication. Perhaps I'll talk about that in another episode. But the thing that really jumped out at me was that there was this conclusion that I was quite an intense person. I'm intense, that there isn't anything kind of wallflowery or, a bit sort of subdued about me. I am up in your face. I am an up in your face communicator. And I know that about myself. But I know also how much I've struggled with it. I know how much I've also um, you know, almost unconsciously give myself this talking to as in my young adult years, in my early time in careers, in my climb in leadership, just this kind of way that I would be aware of it and not want to offend anyone or get anybody's backs up, or and so what she said she'd noticed, which really made me smile, was there's no doubt about my intensity, but I also temper it really deliberately with putting my head on the side and smiling. So she described this as though you know you be yourself, which is completely natural, completely in flow, which is quite intense, and then you kind of put a little sugar on top, like you kind of do something. I mean, I can't do it to order because I don't know how to do it to order, but she says that I do it with, I smile, like I light myself up, I put my eyebrows right up, I put my head to the side, almost as if to say, but I love you, but I'm okay, but don't be upset. And that really took my breath away, and it got me thinking when I saw your post about these strategies, whether they are strategies that we have to make it in life and make it in leadership, or whether there's something self-limiting about this. What do you think?
Hmm. I mean, it sounds as though you've actually thought about this a lot more than I have. Um, I just need to think about it for a second.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that there are probably, I think we do use them as unconscious strategies. And I think it probably comes from very, very young, needing to smile, needing to be liked, to be part of the group,
yeah,
um, and to take a particular role in the group, of making things okay,
yeah,
conciliating. I mean, that's, I don't know if you saw, but I've put another post on this morning about the conversation I had yesterday with a union leader. And she was talking to me about a meeting that she goes to regularly, and sometimes it's chaired by a man, and sometimes it's chaired by a woman. And she just noticed that when the man, she said they're both great, they're both calm, intelligent, they're both great people. When the man is chairing it, everyone pretty much, it's quite calm. Everyone pretty much respects what's going on. When the woman is chairing it, she just gets a lot of flack, and she gets questioned a lot, and she gets a lot of pushback, and he just has to work a lot harder. So I thought that was just um,
yeah,
really interesting. And I think maybe often women are in the position of sort of social glue, making things better. And so then when I put up a photograph that's very in your face, it's like you know, I'm not going to be the social glue anymore.
Yeah.
I'm, and it's saying, I'm going to do what I'm going to do my thing, and it's a bit more damn you. You know, I don't really care what you think. I'm just going to do my thing,
Yeah.
which I think is, and a lot of the work that I'm doing with women is about working out, well, what do you want? Not what does everyone around you think you should
Yeah.
want, or what do you think you should? I mean, I hear so often, oh, I should, oh, I should, I must. And I say, yeah, but what do you want to do?
Yes.
Um, and then working out from, well, what you want to do to, well, this is how I'm going to get it. And I think what that photograph is saying is, I know what I want, I know how I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't really care that much what the rest of you think.
Yeah.
And just one last thing on that. I think there's a lot of work in all of us in getting some distance from the judgment of other people. And I know as a singer, I have struggled with this. I mean, I used to feel when I was standing up on stage singing, I used to feel as though there were just too many eyes. There were all these eyes, and they felt very oppressive. And now what I've learned to do is to say, well, actually, what the audience thinks is the audience's problem. I can't be in any way involved in their judgment of me. That's, if they love it, that's great. If they hate it, well, you know, so be it. My role is completely different. My role is to be up there to do it as well as I can without putting too much pressure on myself, being aware of having to breathe. How am I breathing enough? Am I, you know, opening up the back of my throat enough? You know, all the technical stuff, putting as much as of myself into it as I can. And then I know what's going well. I know where it needs work, and seeing it as part of the process. So it's my process. And what other people actually think about that is completely separate from me. So I think that that's a huge part of the work, is to put other people's judgment at a distance from us.
I mean, that's exactly where I am with this. You know, when I received the feedback, I remember really being upset with myself, like trying to kind of tame myself, you know, contain myself, like giving myself pep talks about how to make sure that I don't ruffle anyone's feathers, or just make sure that you just just calm yourself down, Dion, smile, you know, be nice to people, why can't you be pleasant like other women?
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
and to have I've done a lot of work around this, exactly like you say, about showing up for real. Um, you know my story. I was born with a facial disfigurement. I wore an artificial eye and dark glasses from 4 years old into my 40s, and then decided that it was time for me to let people see my real face. And that process was such a life altering one. The process of learning how to show up for real. First of all, it started off about my face, but then it turned into how does Dion show up for real? And so to hear this and that analyst telling me that I'm still kind of doing those little things,
Mm.
you know, it just shows just how deeply entrenched, for me, it shows how deeply entrenched this stuff is. Because for the most part, I've accepted my intensity. I've accepted my passion. I'm extremely intense. I'm extremely passionate. And I kind of like it now. But
Mm.
still, those 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 acquiescing moments, those strategic smoothing things over for myself and for other people is still there. And I know that it's so deeply entrenched. And when you talk, I think about like doing the one woman show. That's the first thing that comes to me is, wow, all those eyes on you. I have some sense of what you must have to do to get yourself in the state where you have chosen to do this, you want to do this, is it aligned with your purpose in life to do this, and therefore you will show up and damn well do it. Now that's incredible. Have you got some strategies for how you get yourself in that space, or is it automatic?
It's been a very long process. It's not automatic at all.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I do very simple things like I've got a gesture like this, which where I think, I mean, I haven't done it for a while, but I think something like this is going to be magnificent. I'm going to be magnificent.
Yeah.
And so it's just remembering to get into that headspace of being magnificent. Um,
I love it.
it's and a lot of it is actually just the technical stuff. Like I forget to breathe, and when you're singing and you don't breathe,
Yeah.
that's a problem. So
Yeah.
a lot of it for me is being in the technical stuff, and it's also remembering to have fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really, really, really important. When I did my second one woman show, which was it was texts rather than singing, it was just acting. Um, when I saw the video, I was just like, oh my God, I was so shocked because it was my writing, it was me up there, it was my words, and it was like I sort of cut a dotted line down the middle of me and just opened it up and said, this is what's happening inside.
Wow.
Um, but because I'd done that, I connected with people on that sort of a level. And so I had a very, very positive response. So I think that I've learnt that by being myself, by being courageous, by being intimate, it connects with people on a completely different level.
I could not agree with you more. I remember, I mean, I was literally hidden in my face. Like
Mm.
I wore big glasses, big dark glasses, an artificial eye. And when I decided that I was going to let people see the real me, I was just talking about my face. This was in 2009. I was just talking about my face, but really it was about me, letting people see me. And when I began to share this intention and share this process that I'd been going through, I received messages from women literally all around the world who said, Dion, look, I haven't got a face like yours. I'm not disfigured. I'm not a black woman. I'm not this, I'm not that. But Dion, I know what you're talking about, this hiding of myself, this continual suppression of myself, suppression and depression of my voice, and this covering up of my truth, this trying to be her for that person and be her for them over there and trying to show up like this. It's exhausting. I say it's energetically expensive. And in this time when the world is going through, I like to say you have to be at the bottom of the ocean somewhere living in a cave to not realize that planet Earth, the people of planet Earth are going through something where we're being challenged somehow. And I think that we're being called to do some pretty incredible things just to be good to people and to be good to the planet and to be good to generations of leaders and people coming in the future, that we're being called to find new ways to be, new ways to show up now. And I think this is, as soon as I saw your post last night, I knew that it was pointing to that. It was asking us, I think particularly as women, to think about what needs to happen for us to be freer in our showing up authentically. What do we need a strategy? Do we need to give ourselves a talking to? Do we need to get around women and just scrap this out until we find ourselves and what that means? Do we need to, what is it that we need to do to really show up in our leadership as our true selves?
I mean, my feeling about that is that often I will say to my clients, how does that make you feel? And they will say, I think. And I think, well, I think what I think is that we need to get much more attuned to what we're feeling and using that as the guideline for what's the right thing to do in a particular moment.
Agreed.
Um, I think that that's what's required.
Agreed.
Mm.
The work that I'm doing with my beautiful clients. And I had a feedback session, a testimonial session with one of my clients yesterday. And I asked her, what did you get out of it? And she said, Dion, she said, it's really strange. She said, I know that I'm a smart woman. I know that I'm a talented leader. I know that I am great in my industry. I've done this. I've worn the t-shirt. I am an accomplished woman. But it just never really landed that I'm an expert in my field. It never really landed that that I that I'm really an asset, that I really bring value. I just have not thought of myself that way. And that's what this work does. I really believe that because these things that we've been talking about today, these ideas about how we need to be showing up, that's just so disconnected from the truth of us. I think that there needs to be investment in working out what that looks like, working out what that feels like, working out what the possibilities and the opportunities and the alternatives and are. Because we've got work to do as women. I believe
Mm.
that I was a midwife for a very long time, and I saw how powerful we are. But somehow that naked power is struggling to show up in the world, but the world needs it so badly.
Mm. I think it takes I think it takes a lot of work, and I think it takes a lot of courage. And I think it also takes realizing a realization that things can't go on as they are,
Wow.
for ourselves or for other people. And no, that was my case. It was like, well, am I going to work in finance for another 15 years? And it's like, I can't, can't do it. So, okay, so what else am I going to do? The other thing I wanted to say about a couple of things I wanted to add. One, on my second one woman show, one of the people who came to see it, she said, you had to do that so that you could show people who you were. And I thought that was a very astute comment.
Yeah.
But I actually had to get up on the stage to say, the person that you thought that you knew is not actually the person that I am.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
friends who I had known for a very long time said to me, until I saw your show, I didn't know you.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
So that was really powerful feedback. The other thing I wanted to say was that I realized I was needing to prepare like I had to look at a whole lot of women's photographs for a photo shoot to say, well, what sort of photographs do I like? And I was looking at all these photographs and suddenly just hit me. All of them had this seductive look, and the photographer later told me it was called the male gaze. It's very intentional. I was absolutely shocked. I was absolutely shocked that intentionally photographers are making 95% of the photographs of women have this seductive male gaze. Really shocking.
I hear you. I think that this is a really deep conversation and we could go on and go deeper, I think. Um, but for now, I'd just like to invite people who are watching, male and female, I hope, to think about what we've been talking about and just ask yourself, what is this saying to you? What does this mean? How is this landing for you? I mean, how are you showing up? Are you showing up for real? Are you doing like we do and putting a bit of sugar on top to not offend people? Are you trying to be this for that person and that for them over there and, losing yourself in the process? I think both Cecilia and I are really sure that this needs attention. This can't go on, because who you really are is what we really need. And, I've learned on my journey that it takes courage, and it takes a realization that the real me is enough. The real me is valuable. The real me has some part to play in the grand scheme of things. And if I keep masking her and hiding her and layering her with sugar or whatever else we layer her with, then she doesn't get to offer her power. And we both, I know I speak for Cecilia and myself, we both believe in the power of what I call womanity to do her marvelous thing in the world at such a time as this. So we'd be interested to hear your thoughts. We'd be interested to hear how this is landing for you and what this is bringing up. And in the notes, I guess I'll have show notes and I'll put Cecilia's contact details and my own. Is your show in English or French?
It's in French. It's actually, well, the next one is it's a Schumann song cycle. So it's a dialogue between the singer and me. So it's in German and French.
So I'll put the notes
So,
I'll put the details for that in case you want to catch that in Paris in December. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. I don't know, last words from you, Cecilia?
well, great. I mean, I hope this is the first of your series of Woman to Woman. I think it's a great title, and thank you for jumping on. And I think it's fantastic doing it in a spontaneous way like so. Great
Yeah, me
initiative.
too.
Thank you.
Thank you.